Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today we're going to be discussing all about India, finding your products in India. Why should Amazon sellers explore it? What can be sourced there? And why do sellers take India as a good market to sell in? All right, welcome to another Lunch with Norm e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with
Okay, like I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about India and finding products over in India. Our guest is an import-export consultant. He is currently the spokesperson at the Federation of Business Association or Business Ambassadors, aka Federation of Buying Agents. He also runs Pan-India Meetup Group of import-export professionals with a growing community of over 9,500 members. And I'm talking about a buddy of mine. Sometimes they call him Crazy Legs, but Lokesh Parashar. And we're going to be talking to Paresh. It's going to be a long day. Lokesh in just a second. All right, let's have a word from our sponsor, Seller Basics. Hey, Amazon sellers ever faced with account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon accounts guardian, which is $99 a month, $89 a month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. No long-term contracts, cancel with just a month's notice, and you can view Seller Basics as your Amazon account's health plan. Check it out at sellerbasics.com. Now for the disclaimers. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Research may vary, and membership is needed before events leading to claims, and terms apply. All right, where is the Calcinator?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yep.
Back in my hockey days.
That was right when you were a goalie.
That's right. A little fun fact of the day. Welcome everyone to the Lunch with Norm podcast. We got Cool Hand 99 joining us, Rad and Steve. Steve's already saying hi, Lokesh. Good to see you. Yeah, I think we've got hopefully some cruise buddies coming on today in the comment sections so we can all hang out. Yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, let us know in the comment sections. And we did just put out the newsletter today, so check your mailbox for that. So we've got a great story. It's a longer story, I'll say that, but it's pretty intense. It is a long one. Yeah, it's a story of how Norm almost disappeared.
Kicked the bucket, washed out to sea.
Yeah, so
I've had a couple of those experiences.
Yeah. But if you want to check it out, links are in the descriptions. And also, we're asking everyone if they've had a life or death situation, if they want to share their stories too. So check it out in the newsletter. If it's in a junk box, make sure you just move it over to your main inbox. And yeah, let us know what you think of the newsletter story this week.
Okay, and on top of the newsletter story, I just want to make sure everybody is aware of the event happening on May the 1st, and that is our AI e-commerce success summit. We have 18 speakers that are ready to go. It's going to be very unique. This is not going to be a drawn out half hour, 45-minute, hour per speaker. This is going to be a 6-minute presentation. Then there'll be an introduction to the next speaker. So I would recommend that you come on early. There's only 1,000 seats available, and we have 1,700 registrations. So if we get it up over like 25, we'll boost it up a bit more. But right now we feel that around 1,700 we'll have 1,000 seats filled. Just to make sure that you get that seat, I would come on and not register, but come on to the webinar early just to make sure that you get the seat. And if it is full, just check back. When people leave, you can always come back on. But I think this is going to be one of the best AI webinars that's out there. Not just because we're putting it on, but just because of the content and the quality of the speakers. So that's May 1st. On April 30th, we're hoping tomorrow we're going to have our first Misfits podcast up and airing. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be Katie Wells, and it's a lot of, it was so casual, lots of fun, a lot of interesting nuggets she threw at us. But that's going to be tomorrow. I have to make sure. I know my other son is taking care of that, but we'll put that. We're going to also be announcing that during the webinar, just where you can go to listen to it. Okay, I think that's it. Anything
One
else?
other thing, just with the AI summit, you guys are doing a giveaway too, right? $500 giveaway for the best.
Yeah. So not to the speakers, but for anybody who decides to provide us with a tip. You've probably already got an email from Kevin, but if you have a tip, you get 3 minutes. There'll be the top 5 we're going to select, and then you're going to come on live. You're going to present your tip, and then whoever wins, and this is going to be a vote, whoever wins $500. Okay, so yeah, I think that's important too. We've already got a bunch of entries, but there's so many AI tips and hacks out there that throw them in. I think that's it. Now I think we can get over to Lokesh. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Norm, how are you?
I'm doing fine. So this is interesting. So Lokesh and I met on a cruise, and it was awesome. And this is Carlo Alvarez's cruise. But sitting down and talking, I didn't know, where Lokesh was from or anything about his history, and he didn't know anything about mine. And once we got talking, we ended up finding out that not only was he lived in the Toronto area for a time period, but our favorite restaurant, actually, it meant a lot more to you than me because of the kindness of that, the owner. But my favorite restaurant, called The Host, is in Toronto, and I love it. The kids love it. It's the most fabulous Indian restaurant out there. So it's hilarious how our paths almost crossed.
Yeah.
So, Lokesh, why don't we talk a little bit about India? And first of all, like, a lot of people are talking about it. I know there's been trips over there and events that are happening over there. People are talking about it a lot more. Why should people be taking a look over there?
India is a very matured market in terms of consumers. There are, I would say, a lot of factors. We can highlight few which I can always remember. One is that we have the biggest and largest number of consumers with smartphones and money in their pocket. The shopping online concept is fast catching up in our rural areas and small cities and towns as well, especially with Amazon cracking the code of delivery to 99.99% of zip codes. That's a huge achievement for a company where a lot of terrain is rural, small cities, towns, villages, and you still can deliver. The other important thing is people are very much looking for new products. It's a very vibrant economy, uh, among the highest GDP growth right now in terms of uh, the economy as far as other countries are concerned. If you look at Europe, if you look at even China, their growths are dipping. Some of the countries are actually in recession, but with India and kind of consumerism which is there, I don't think so. We have anything to look down in maybe next 20 years. The third important thing, we recently had an e-commerce conclave. I had very high hopes that we might have some good speakers, we might have some good brands, and to my surprise, it was completely a disaster.
Hmm.
Like, you still have the whole ground to cover, where people are talking about there is a big market as a consumer, but then there are no uh, big sellers who are coming and looking at India as one of the markets to sell.
But isn't that partly because it's hard to get set up in India?
Yeah, one of the reasons, and that is where we also are looking at this opportunity as a business. I'm already offering it to a couple of the uh, sellers who are coming to India. There are systems and process which are involved, and I would say maybe because India, in terms of expansion for any seller, will not be a priority ahead of Japan or Germany. Because if you look at the statistics of Amazon, after US is, I think, the biggest market for Amazon has been Germany,
Hmm.
or some other countries in Europe. Then you have Japan, and then India. Most likely, my observations and my studies are okay, comes seventh in the number. So you might be able to look at India in that perspective, that okay, if I am going to expand my business, let me figure out other countries, which is again is a challenge for my business to expand overseas. Why to India? Yes, if your specific product you think is good for Indian market, and you think that yes, this will really sell well, couple of my clients are actually manufacturing in India as well. So that makes it a natural choice for them. Yes, if something is really manufactured here, and if I can get 30% or 40% of my merchandise sold on Amazon India itself, and 60% gets exported to other countries on my other marketplaces, nothing like it. They are
So
killing them. They are killing them, making the money.
so if you're a Amazon seller or an e-commerce seller, what type of niches sell the best within India?
I was looking at. I was actually in one of the backpack factories for sourcing one of the bags for a seller, and they happen to be on also on e-commerce as a brand. And I just picked up their physical catalog and I brought it to my home. Both my sons were so excited to see all those bags, and they quickly jumped onto Amazon to look. Oh, this is a factory, and the product is on Amazon. So if I call them, if I select some items, can I get some? We already have so many bags at home, like backpacks and your office bag and laptop bag, but they were so excited to buy new bags. So one of those things which I would target as a category is impulsive buying, things which people might not really be bothered about. Ki if I have extra bag, it's always good and handy. uh, Accessories, fashion, beauty, cosmetics, especially if you are a European brand or American brand and you're into beauty or wellness, you have an edge over anybody else because you're coming from a market which is very matured, which is very regulated, and none of your products would be harmful to them. So there's and maybe toys, I would say. Uh, don't get into sophistication. Don't get into electronics, because electronics is bombarded by China, then Taiwan, then Japan, then Korea. So I would not. I would pretty much stay away from anything which is electronic, battery operated, something like that, because and especially if you are sourcing it from China, it doesn't make sense for you to come to India all the way buying something from China, putting your cost on it on your operation cost, and then selling it in India, because there are so many sellers from China who are selling in India, and there are so many Indian sellers who are buying from China and coming there. So look for that niche, that okay, what is it, that extra value I'm going to give if I'm selling in India? It does this brand has a brand value which people will pay, and brand value is something you can I can give you this hack. People definitely pay, even if they're Indians. They don't look at money, they don't look at dollars or rupees. If your brand is successful, if you have built a good brand, they'll pay for it.
So that's what I was just going to ask for. If you're an American brand, a Canadian, European brand, you'll probably get a higher perceived value just because it is over here from the US. I know when I was selling soap over to Japan, they wanted the English boxes. I still had to have compliance, but they wanted it made in America. They loved Hawaiian soap. And in India, I think it's the same way, where if you have a North American product and you sell it over there, as long as it's a good quality product, you can get a higher perceived value, more dollars.
Yeah. If you look at the shoe brands, or if you look at all the big beauty brands, internationally renowned, they're all here. All the car brands, people love to have, and cars definitely they sell by the brand only, like whether it's Hyundai or Honda or Mercedes, BMW. But if you look at the product side, all the shoe brands are in India for like maybe 3 or 4 decades when we started opening up economy, and Puma, Adidas, Nike. Uh, People buy that brand because they trust. Okay, I'm putting, and they're not cheap in India, but they still sell so successfully because they don't. People don't think when they are buying a brand, they think, oh, this is a brand we are expected to pay more for it because we're getting a quality and we're getting a brand value.
Right. Now, I think I'm hung here. Kels, can you see me?
You're frozen, but you can still be heard. And I think you just muted yourself. Okay, so we lost Norm. So I think we're going to take this as a time to go over to an ad read, and we'll be right back. And hopefully by that time, Norm is back here too. So we'll be back in just a second.
Facing cash flow challenges with your e-commerce business? Discover Viably, your ultimate financial ally. From real-time sales data integrations to immediate funding access, Viably is here to support you. Plan your growth with their free tool for online sellers and engage with specialists whenever you need. Extend your cash flow with Viably.
Okay, so we're talking to Norm, and he's going to be here in just a few seconds. This is also a good time to share with our audience that if you do have any questions about selling or sourcing in India, please ask away in the comment sections. And let's see. And Lokesh, we do have a giveaway today as well. Would you like to share what you're able to give away to one person today?
Yeah, I offer my time actually on TopMate by the hour, and for all anything which you want to ask about India, whether it's buying or selling, uh, the first half an hour is complimentary for all the followers of Lunch with Norm or anybody who comes back with the reference that I heard you on a podcast on Lunch with Norm, and that will be offered complimentary to all our fellow community members.
All right, great. So we'll do that for the giveaway as well. So if you have, if you're interested, please write hashtag Wheel of Kelsey in the comment sections. And at the end of the episode, we're going to give that a spin. So, okay, Lokesh. So I'll carry along now until Norm gets here. It seems like he's just turning on his computer. So what are some of the misconceptions you think sellers have about sourcing in India?
The first misconception I would in like, since I'm deal with buying as well as selling, the first misconception regarding selling would be that India is very tough market to sell. uh, I will not agree with this. It is tough to enter for sure, but that doesn't mean that selling is also tough. The moment you have all the system and process in place, product sells like hell. Especially we have so many festivals, week, and different occasions. uh, we are very much aggressive on online sales right now. I can tell you on Amazon days, which is like a festival days, or Flipkart, which is acquired by Walmart, they both are organizing shopping days as well. There are over $1.5 billion of sales in one day itself on the platform. That is a huge sales in terms of just a day sale. So that is one of the biggest, I would say, takeaway you can take that once you're once you figured out India what you want to sell, and you really have your all system in place, like your PPC and everything, and you're staying on top of the page, your product will start flying off the shelf.
Okay, great. So, yeah, again, if there's any questions or comments from the audience, please let us know. We're just waiting for Norm to come back here, but he will be back in just a second. So,
The other thing, sorry to interrupt you when you said that question. Now, a lot of people have also question about uh, the the problems or the misconception or the buying from India is that India is expensive or India is slow. Yes, you might have those challenges to encounter, but then I also deal with China for a long time. We have problems and we also have opportunities when we deal with people. So you're talking to an overseas country, people from different culture, we have different people time zone. You need to figure out and be very patient in doing this. Times I've seen sellers want, especially with the WhatsApp culture and Telegram culture, they want quick results. Like they want something in seconds. Guys, you're going to buy from some factories, and maybe the owner is very keen enough to answer you right now, but sometimes he's not able to do it.
sorry, I think that's Norm. Your something is echoing on your end. Can you double check your audio settings?
Yeah,
No,
my voice is echoing in his microphone.
I'm not sure. It's looping Norm's audio for some reason.
Yeah, so patience is one of the things which I would always advise the people when they are starting to buy from India. Don't be in a rush. Maybe you might have encountered a problem with one factory, but that doesn't mean that the whole of India is like that, or it's very difficult to buy from India. People who have cracked the code, they have made a lot of good relationships. They're making money when they're buying from, and they're here for a very long time. I have seen people who are buying from almost like 30 years now. They're still in India.
Right. And what are some of the main products that sellers are looking at when they're sourcing in India?
Yeah, that is the most common question. The home textiles is the strength of India, like mixed material products, home decor and home textiles, something, because I deal with that product. But then there are many other products which I might not be able to do. So you do your research. For example, one of the sellers is now coming back with a chemical which is to deal with some swimming pool accessories, and they could figure out that this is actually gone from like sent from or shipments only go from India itself. We are very competitive in this category. Leather is again one of the very good categories. I met one of the sellers in Las Vegas Prosper, and his competitor was selling some leather accessories. They were all from India, and the moment he met me, he was started showing me all the Amazon listing of his competitor. I said, "Yeah, if you're not in India and you want to buy leather, we can guarantee you that we are much cheaper than China in any leather accessories."
Uh, is jewelry another viable option? Is that another?
Handmade jewelry, yes, handmade jewelry, precious stones, also houseware made of stainless steel, because if you go back and research on the product, you will see, you maybe you can also Google what is the top raw materials being exported from India to China, and then you will see leather, you will see stainless steel, there cotton. These things are as raw material are exported from India to China. That means Chinese are buying, importing the raw material, then they are making it. So they are definitely, even if not expensive, they are only having an edge of competition because of volumes. Otherwise, they can't beat our prices because that's our forte of have the raw material is available so much here. And this is how you figure out, is your product really is there a way to go to China as well as India and then compare the prices? Then that should be the approach.
All right, great. Could you tell us a bit about the Federation of Buying Agents as an association?
the sourcing agents or the sourcing consultants or buying agents never had a community before. And that was the thought which came in 2014 among few friends who were like me. We are like-minded people. They said we always gather at the trade shows, and then we are busy with our customers, or we are doing some factory sourcing. So we don't network anywhere else apart from some exporter association inviting us for an event, and then you go back and you have some drinks. Is there a platform where we can create, and it should be purely for sourcing agents, because we are service providers and our challenges, just like any other association, are common. Just like Amazon sellers challenges are same. Any startup Amazon seller, they will have all basic questions will be almost the same. So we had this idea is conceptualized, and in next couple of years we gathered 78 sourcing agents across India. In 2018 we formed this as a society, as a non-profit society, for the promotion of business, for the growth of the buying agency business, to generate opportunities for buying agents, and also manage grievances of these buying agents in respect of, because what we are doing is we are the problem solvers, we are troubleshooters in the supply chain. We have one side is a factory, we have other side is a buyer, then we have a freight forwarder, then you have a packaging company, then you testing laboratories. So there are a lot of affiliated companies who are being monitored and controlled by a sourcing agent when they're dealing your account. And you will have a lot of challenges if you are new in this industry. So that was the goal, and this is still the goal. Currently we are 800 plus members across India. Anybody who's into sourcing agent as a freelancer, as a quality inspector, or as a company, or as an individual agent, or a big firm, they all are signed up as our members. And we call it 3G principle, like the growth of your business. How do you grow your business? How do you create teams? How do you do a contract with the customers? uh, how do you build your vendor management? All these are basically some startup buying agents. How do you actually start your business? If you are starting to do a sourcing agency business, what are the tools required for that? So all these things are part of the mentoring and handholding we give as growth of your business. Generation of business opportunities is where we have the hosted buyer program we were talking about, where we invite buyers, and the intention is to meet the sourcing agents before they can go and meet the factories. And then we have grievance is to manage. That is where we have problems to solve, and that is something we call it 3G principle. So these are our three mandates under which the federation works.
Okay, so if you are a seller and you're thinking about sourcing in India, what do you think those first steps are for those sellers?
If you're a seller and you're looking at India, probably you should do your research, and you have a lot of tools available to do your research. Like uh, couple of my sellers actually came went on Pickfu. They did a poll, they did a research, and they found out, yes, this is a product I would have to go to India to buy this. And then they started looking at whether I should go to factory directly, or I should go to factory with a sourcing agent. And that is how you should figure out how to do this. I would say, if your initial experience is overwhelming, if you think that you know how to delegate, you know how to trust people, start with sourcing agents. I have seen very few sellers who think that a sourcing agent is going to add cost to my whole business. 80%, or I would say 8 of 10%, 8 of the 10 people in business, whether they are wholesalers, they're retailers, or e-commerce sellers, when you assign your jobs to a sourcing agent, it is not an extra cost. We add a value, and we drive that value based on what we are doing for you, in terms of the potential losses you might have, in terms of negotiation you would miss knowing from the factory, all the communication, all the operation side of a business which you will invest your time into it. So that opportunity cost, uh, the the product sourcing, which is a science, and we are very well like a doctor for that. So it's like doing yourself or thinking of doing it with some trusted person. It's always cost saving. Welcome back, Norm.
Oh my gosh, it is one of those days. Okay, we're gonna come back to sourcing agents right after we just have a word from our sponsor. But if you are, what are you staring at?
So we did go to a word from the sponsor already.
Oh, we
so
did.
We're gonna wait till the other one, and we did the Wheel of Kelsey already too. So you're good to go.
You did the Wheel of Kelsey?
The announced the Wheel of Kelsey.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, there we go. He, made my job easy. So we can stick on sourcing agents. I'm not sure. I kind of just came back, but I apologize if I'm kind of repeating this. This is more of a comment. One of my pet peeves when working with especially new sellers, you try to explain it, but a lot of the times it goes in one ear and out the other, is that working with an agent, like it's got this, I don't know, people, I don't know where they get this information from, but it's bad because they're going to be taking money from you. And a good sourcing agent can save you tons of money. And yes, you might have to pay a flat fee. You might have to pay a small percentage. But at the end of the day, they just, by negotiating in the country that, like for Lokesh, in India or in China, with different sourcing agents there, you probably save 10 or 20% by dealing in over in China in RMB rather than the US dollars. You probably saved 10%. So I don't know why sellers, they listen to these non-gurus on YouTube thinking that they can do it themselves. And I'll give you a great example of this. And I don't know any service like this in India, but 1688. Oh, let's go to 1688. Do you know how many products North American sellers have found out were not compliant? They came up and they couldn't sell it on Amazon, or they couldn't export it out of China because they didn't have an export license. There's so many things. There are times to spend a little bit of money and not only save, but make money. So it's just a bit of a nerve because I've had to deal with so many people who have thought that it was so good, especially if this was your first time to go out. Yeah, go ahead. Deal with the Chinese suppliers. But I know in India, I know in Korea, I know in Mexico, everyone has their own culture. Everybody has their own way of dealing with people. And I know Afalabi and I, we pretty much got out of the sourcing game because anytime we gave the names of the suppliers over to people, many times they destroyed our relationships because they decided to go around, and instead of us doing the negotiating and talking, they would go direct and just butcher the relationship. So anyway, that's just me.
I'll add something here now. Why people fail to work with sourcing agent is because they don't follow the system and process, which they ideally do with other things. When you start selling on Amazon, you follow a system and process to actually start selling on Amazon. Similarly, when you want to delegate something to a person, whether it's China, whether it's India, or any country, first of all, you have to make sure that this person is actually part of your team. He or she is going to see your back. So it's as if it's as equal to a marriage. You are going to be naked in front of you because I know what price you're selling, what price you're buying, what kind of quantity you can buy, what's your stand, what's your business, where do you sell. I know each and everything as a sourcing agent when I start working for you. So the trust is the most important thing which you have to take fair in terms of sourcing agents. Don't look at a product. I would say, oh, can you source me? Are you capable? Do you have factories? No. You need to first put a system and process in place. That how do I trust a person who is not even involved in my business right now, and now as soon as I get into this, he's going to know everything about my business, including the sources. And that system and process, most importantly, is by references. Especially in the sellers community, in Amazon sellers community, you have that process in place. You have a lot of sellers. You can reach out to them and say, oh, did you work with a sourcing agent? Did you find somebody better or good, and can you recommend? Because when somebody comes with a reference, the sourcing agent itself is kept in check. Now, all the terms of working, somebody can work in a fixed flat fee, or somebody can work on a percentage, or somebody will say, for example, if someone comes to me and say, can you find me a factory? I said, yes, I can find you a factory, but Do you need to directly interact with factory, or you want me to do this for you? And if they say no, we will talk to the factory directly, so please pay a sourcing fee. I will give you the factories, I will find out all the factories for you, then you start interacting. I have no expectation from them from that day onwards. Once you are connected, if you're saying I do not want to pay a sourcing fee, then I will not give you the factory information before. I will give you the product information as whatever is will be the commitment, whatever the price you require. We can all do this, but you will not get the information unless you take me on board as your agent, or you just want to pay a small fee and then you can do it yourself. So you follow a system and process, have your references, uh, maybe meet them couple of times before you even start talking to them. Because when you, as norm, you and me met on Sele Cruise, once you meet people, have a perception, you have an experience of how this person is, or is he the capable person, is he talking in the right sense. And a lot of the activities of any person can be found online as well. Like you go to LinkedIn or you go to YouTube and you can figure out, is this person available digitally, what is he doing, is this his main business, or he's doing a lot of other things, is he a factory and then a sourcing agent. So do your research, I would say, because the moment you start engaging with a sourcing agent, it is as equal to consulting your doctor or a lawyer, and you can't disclose, you can't hide anything from them.
You
Otherwise,
know,
you will be in problem in a solution making.
I just did a presentation in Retail Secrets, and it was it in the presentation. There was contract negotiations and how to put a contract, what to put into the contract, everything you needed to know to have a binding contract that you could legally go back onto a Chinese supplier and make them sweat. You know, you don't, in China, you don't want to go to court. That's the last thing you want to do. And I don't know the first thing about contract law or anything in India. And by having a sourcing agent that has those people and the legal firms that are there, it's so, and by the way, I don't have anything to do with Lokesh's business. I'm saying this as just a person that's dealt like this. I also know Lokesh. We've talked in the past. He's come and visited our warehouse, at one point. But I'm just mentioning this because there's so many angles that people are not taking into consideration and heading for not if, but when some problems happen. I don't know, although my son went over to India to teach, I don't know the Indian culture. You do. And so why wouldn't I pay you a little bit to get 10 times back? It's so important.
Yeah. I have had sellers coming to me after they burned their hands, and I don't complain. In fact, I would say I sympathize with them that their experience was not good, but I was happy that they're still figuring out how to do this with India. There's a seller in Canada itself. She started doing her own custom design home textiles. She failed in her first order. Second order, he did not deliver, and she was so adamant to do it from India because that's she knew this can only happen in India. She figured out a way to contact me, and then we had this first meeting. I think we had 4 meetings before she decided to get into it. Okay, I have never worked with sourcing agent, but I've seen my hands getting burned. But I still need India. India is in my picture of factories and sourcing, so I just cannot avoid it. We built her business in, and I'm talking about 3 years now. In 3 years, she started with small order of $5,000. Now she's close to around $65,000-$70,000 of orders every year. She's a very small seller, but she could figure out the way to trust. She
So
was a homemaker before, and then she never had a business. She never had this knowledge of that sourcing agents exist who can help you with this business.
I talked to, I don't know when it was. It was years back, probably 4 or 5 years back. And this guy approaches me at I think it was SellerCon, and we start talking. He's from India, and he was saying that he sells supplements. And I said, "Oh yeah, oh great." And yeah, I just kind of curious. Well, what's the Indian market like? Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty lucrative. Oh, how many do you sell a month? He goes, oh, 10,000. I wasn't sure if he was saying $10,000 or 10,000 units. So I said, wow, 10,000 bucks? And he goes, no, 10,000 units. And I went, oh my God. He said, a day. A day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So are there any angles, or no, let's talk about cultural differences that somebody from the US should know when dealing with an Indian supplier?
Yeah. The communication side in India is, or for any matter, when you communicate with somebody on the texting, like emails, or maybe you come on WhatsApp, tend to be tend to do it mostly on Zoom meetings or Google Meet, or whatever video streaming you want to use. Initially, you should be able to get your voice, get your face, get the other person face and voice to talk to you each other. If you're not traveling, my humble request, because the culture of India and the culture of US, I have my business in US has been for 32 years. So I'm half American. I understand how a North American speak, how North American behave. Sometimes I am labeled as an American when I'm writing something on the chat, and they, oh, you are so rude, oh, you are so aggressive. Then I have to tell them that I'm not rude and aggressive. I am writing this because of my own perception of things, which I believe it should be like this. But you are reading it because you are in India right now, and you are reading it from your own perspective. So don't go into mostly texting in that sense, or pure emails. Pick up the phone, call them, have Zoom meetings, have video calls, have your or WhatsApp video calls, because WhatsApp is most common in India. Telegram is like second best, I would say. But yes, the the cultural difference can only be when you are interacting much and more over the calls. Maybe make a 10 minutes call, discuss 5-6 minutes of business, then 4 minutes of what's your family like, where do you live, and what has been your challenge, or anything which can relate to your personal side of your business, or your family, or their family. Create relationships. That I think has been the most important giveaway from all the gurus and all the coaches internationally. You need to first create a relationship before you even think of doing business.
Yeah, I think back when my son was over in New Delhi and he got sick, and just the family. This is the dean of the university, actually brought him into his home, and he got to know the family really well. But the family took care of him, which I thought was just incredible. So let me see. It is almost, we don't have any question. Do we have a question? We have one. If anybody has any other questions, I'm going to hold off on the questions just for a second, because I want to talk about something that you do, and maybe you already talked about it. But this is your Indian trip. I don't have anything to do with your Indian trip, but I've heard Amy went over, Amy Weiss, and I've talked to her, and what you're offering is absolutely incredible. I know just before the podcast, I caught you and Kelsey talking about it. So I wasn't intending on talking about this, but if there's enough interest, maybe we could set something up for September. But why don't you talk a little bit about what you do? And you've done this now for about a year.
So Federation of Sourcing Agents, one of the mandates we have is to get the business generation for our members who are sourcing agents. And we could figure out, we have been doing this for last 6 years. We just recently realized when I was on seller cruise last year that were missing the big pie of Amazon sellers. We have been inviting wholesalers and retailers to India, which is called a hosted buyer program, where we host the buyer under a fixed program, wherein the the cost of coming to India on a business trip, looking at factories, couple of days you want to look at explore India, cost you around $6,000 to $7,000. There are people who charge you this amount just to be a business guide, and they bring sellers to India to a trade show. our role and as a federation is not to get that $5,000-6,000 of money and make some profit over it. Our aim is to get you connected to the sourcing agents of our community, and then probably also eventually the factories who are going to produce. So we have this hosted by program where we incentivize your travel by almost 80%. You only pay $999 just to be a serious stakeholder, while we pay for your flight ticket, economy class return flight ticket from your country. We pick you up at Delhi airport. We have the 5 nights stay already fixed up, 3 days for business, and last 2 days for sightseeing. So the moment you sign up, we attach with a travel desk which is managed by a business ambassador, a buying agent, a sourcing agent. We're not talking about business, we are only talking about your interest, what kind of product category you would like to see. Are you open? This, like Amy was very open to everything. She was, that's for her first trip. She said, I am open to everything. So we did that. We have 35 exhibitors and 5 to 6 sourcing agents, or maybe 10 sourcing agents, who would be also sponsors to the trip. So all of these people are collaborating. They're paying for the total cost which we are giving it to the buyer. And the first day is mandatory for the buyer to meet all these people at an expo sort of a thing, where you are looking at all the products, you're talking to suppliers. There's no commitment to buy from factories. There's no commitment to hire a sourcing agent, but we expect you to meet them, explore working with them, and if you think that yes, this thing is making sense, then you can take it forward. Otherwise, from second day onwards, maybe there's a trade show which we have already lined up with you to visit those trade shows. Maybe there are certain factory visits which you would like to see. We will take you to factory visits. All the car, food, hotel, everything is already paid for. You don't pay anything in that respect. So 3 days we expect you to do business, and then last 2 days we expect you to just explore India. We will have a number of uh, sightseeing and locations to choose from. You can tell us, maybe you're coming to India again and you must have seen Taj Mahal, so you don't want to go back there, so you can choose anything else. So there will be 3 or 4 options of visiting different locations, and there will be one business ambassador always there for your help along the way, until we drop you on the 6th day back to the airport to go home.
So I just want to make this really clear, because when I heard about this, I started talking about it, and a couple of people that were listening to the podcast reached out to me, and I wasn't sure when I was going to nail down the trip, but I might go, I might not go, but I was thinking about possibly, because the best time of year I just heard to visit India is around September. Maybe we could get a group together to go over. Now, again, there's no incentive for me to do this. It's my incentive is to do something for you guys, get you out there, and for $1,000, under $1,000, $1 less, you are going to get your airfare, your hotel stay for 5 days or 5 nights, I think that is, your food, the transportation. You don't take out your wallet except if you're going to pick up some samples or some souvenirs, and also the tourist excursions. $1,000. I don't know about you, but I do a lot of traveling, and right now I can't fly to Austin for that. So that's awesome. So in the WhatsApp group or in the comments here, just let me know, and I'll also post it into. I wasn't planning on this, but I'll post it in the WhatsApp group later today, just to see if there's any interest, and then I'll pass it over to Lokesh. Okay, let's see. Kels, let's go to the 2 questions.
Okay, let's see. Our first question is, let's do cool hands first. Are there good sources for eco-friendly materials such as plant-based plastic materials, hemp, etc.?
Yes, there is many factories now which are I would say we are sourcing wooden cutlery, sustainable wooden cutlery, bamboo cutlery. Hemp is of course there. Then we have bagasse. I don't know whether you know this term. Bagasse is like the disposable plates made from sugarcane residue. Then we have a lot of uh, uh, grass and grain based fabric coming up. We have a lot of PPE, which is the plastic residual disposable plastic, recycled, and then you create mats. You're creating a lot of different products, wall decor from there. So if you are looking at upcycled product, if you're looking at biodegradable product, if you're looking at recycled product, I think India has an edge over other countries. They have a lot of different options of and variety of product to look at.
All right. Next question.
All right. Last question is from Rad. How popular is Etsy in India?
Etsy is not very popular in India. Etsy, I think, is way below in terms of shopping. So if you are looking at selling on Etsy in India, I would say it's a bad news. Etsy is more popular, I think, in the US as compared to India. India, I would say the most popular and most right now in terms of revenue is Flipkart, which is acquired by Walmart, and the number two is Amazon. Then we have Mintra for fashion. Then we have hundreds of other big e-commerce players. I can't even name them, but they all have made their space, and there are certain e-commerce who are product specific as well. So you need to figure out where do you want to go, and it's a sea of opportunities.
All right. Okay. Contact information. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, I am part of the WhatsApp group also with you. I am part of the sourcing lounge also there. I am very active on LinkedIn. You can search me, just Google there, and you will see on me on the top if things are all right. But yeah, the best thing is WhatsApp, and I'm already part of your group.
All right. Fantastic. I see Brian is still interested in that trip. And I think Luke might be too. So that's great to hear. Okay. I have one quick sponsor read. This is a shout out to my buddy Colin Campbell with this book, really blurry book. Just a second. I don't know how to, there we go. I put the blur on today. Start, scale, exit, repeat. Let's put it this way. And this book is something that took 10 years to make. A matter of fact, I don't even have to hold it. It's right there. Colin put this together over his 10 years of his entrepreneurial journey. Now he's been in business for 20, 30 years. He's had successes. He's had failures. They're outlined here. Plus he's got people like Vern Harnish and Joe Foster, who is the founder of Reebok, some really top entrepreneurs that he's talked to about the start, scale, exit, repeat process. Within each one of those processes, he breaks it down into 4 different chapters, and then subsections, 4 sections, and then multiple subsections. So it's almost like a reference guide. So if you're interested in this, you can go to Amazon. You can get the Kindle, softback, or hardcover, and you can go to Audible. So that's Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat by Colin Campbell. Okay. So, Kelsey, is it that time?
It is. Here we go. Here is the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right. Very good.
Okay, so let me shuffle these up. And if you are the winner, please email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, and we'll see who today's winner is. It's Hypology.
Very good.
All right.
Congratulations.
So if you could email me, k@lunchwithnorm.com, we'll set you up with your prize.
Okay, that's it for today. It's been a long time in coming, but I really appreciate you coming on. Sorry about those technical issues. I hate doing that to our listeners and especially to our guests. But yeah, I guess hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. Are you going to BDSS?
No,
No?
I am actually going to Russia in June.
Yep.
That is one market I have never been there, so I thought let's skip the US for a while. Let's start looking at other markets as well. So I'm taking a delegation, an observation team from the federation to look at participating in the June. It's an apparel fair. It's done by Russian Federation for Fashion Industries. So they invited us to come in June and observe the show. I would definitely go into St. Petersburg and definitely signing up with few e-commerce sellers, because I think Russia is also, there's a lot of e-commerce sellers on their own private website.
Right. Right.
They have a Russian version of Amazon there in Russia, and they sell a lot.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I hope everybody learned a ton about Swap with Lokesh on the WhatsApp group. And once again, thanks for coming out today.
Thank you, Norm. Thank you, Kelsey.
All right, everybody. Kels, where are you?
Alrighty, well, thanks again, everyone, for watching today's episode. If you do want to catch up on our latest newsletter, check out the links in our description. We just sent it out about an hour ago, so let us know what you think about it. If you have any tips or anything you want to know about the show, you can always email and contact us at k@lunchwithnorm.com. And I think that's it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. And you can join us live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And like we always say, we could not do this without this community. You guys are awesome. If you want more than the podcast, you can always sign up for the newsletter, go over to our WhatsApp group, or go to the Facebook group. All right, everybody. Have a great Monday, and we will see you later.
Lunch with